Earlier this month, the developers of the popular Battle Royale game Apex Legends announced that they would make significant changes to its Battle Pass model starting in the game's upcoming Season 22. In short, they are going to remove the ability for players to purchase a Battle Pass using in-game currency, and they are going to introduce 2 Battle Passes per season, each costing $10. At the time of recording this, neither EA nor Respawn have commented on the community backlash, but a lot of people expect one of two things to happen. One, the developers will come back with an apology and announce a slightly better plan, which was supposed to be the original plan all along, and this controversial plan, which no one likes, was only meant to make the original plan feel better. We have seen this happen many times before. Or two, the controversial plan will actually be implemented because the developers know that the players complaining online are only a vocal minority, and the majority of the player base will continue playing the game and maybe even buy a lot of these new battle passes. Either way, it's not really a good time to be playing Apex Legends as your main game. A lot has already been said about this controversial update, and I don't really want to discuss more about this in particular. However, this controversy made me think a lot about battle passes as a whole. Battle passes as a business model in video games have become so common that we are no longer surprised to see them in most new online games these days. They started gaining popularity because they offered what we thought was a good alternative to loot boxes, because you always knew what you were buying with your money, unlike loot boxes where you paid money without knowing what you would get in return. But little did we know that the Battle Pass system would bring problems of its own, and the sad thing is, we currently don't have a replacement in sight. In this video, let's spend a little time looking into the origins of this monetization model, why publishers and developers are so reliant on it, and how it hurts the consumers in the long term. First, let's understand how it all started. Older gamers might point to Fortnite as one of the first games to popularize the Battle Pass back in 2017, and that is partially correct. Fortnite did make Battle Passes mainstream, the same way that Overwatch made loot boxes popular when it first launched. But the origin of the Battle Pass can be traced back to a Dota 2 esport tournament called the International, which is run by Valve each year. In 2013, they introduced a new item called the Compendium, which was pitched to players as a way to support the tournament, as 25% of all proceeds from the sale of the Compendium would be added to the prize pool of the International. The incentive for players to buy this item was that they would receive virtual in-game items if they used the Compendium to perform various activities like predicting winners, assembling a fantasy team, and other stuff. It was not directly like the Battle Pass model we know today, but this was where the concept of buying a separate item to receive guaranteed rewards got started. 3 years later is where our origin story picks up pace. The Compendium for the 2016 version of the International had a brand new feature called the Battle Pass. Valve can be credited for coming up with the name as well. This first version of the Battle Pass actually felt a bit extreme, featuring 2500 levels. But those were certainly the early days, and I guess level 2500 was not really meant to be reached by everyone unless they paid a lot of money to rank up. This is where we bid goodbye to Dota in this story. The Compendium and the Battle Pass for Dota 2 continue to exist, but you don't really hear about them in conversations about Battle Passes unless you're a devoted Dota player. By this point in time, the concept was proven. Dota's first true Battle Pass was a hit, and other companies began to take notice. I couldn't find any other examples of games which used this system between 2016 and 2017, so if you know any titles that use the Battle Pass system during this time, please mention it in the comments. But the story now skips to December 2017, when Epic Games announced that Fortnite Battle Royale would have its first Battle Pass in Season 2 of the game. They even released a video to mark the occasion, so let's have a look.
Mooney here from the Fortnite community team to give you the scoop on the Battle Pass. Listen up, my dudes, Season 2 is starting soon and has all new cosmetic loot. Play for free to get some of these cool items, or buy the Battle Pass and instantly get some goodies, including this awesome Blue Squire outfit. During the season, you play to level up your Battle Pass, unlocking up to 65 plus additional rewards. This can typically take 75 to 150 hours of play. It might take me a bit longer. If you want them faster, you can use V-Bucks to buy levels at any time over the course of Season 2. Season 2 is going to run from December 14th until February 20th. If you have any questions, hit us up in all the usual spots.
This is remarkable to watch today because Epic Games really nailed the formula in their first attempt. It has all the features that you can still see in modern Battle Passes. You buy the Battle Pass using virtual currency, which you can either earn through the game or buy with real money. The Battle Pass has two tracks, a free one and a paid one. You can level up tracks on the Battle Pass using more virtual currency so that you don't have to actually play the game to get your rewards. If you play enough to finish the Battle Pass, you can earn the virtual currency required to purchase the next Battle Pass, thus incentivizing you to buy the next one and keep repeating the process. The rewards offered in the Battle Pass would cost significantly more if you purchase them separately, so the entire package was presented as a huge value for money. As this new system came at a time when Fortnite Battle Royale was rapidly increasing in popularity, the gaming world jumped onto the Battle Pass with a lot of excitement. It was a huge hit, and this time the other companies not only took notice but immediately started working on their own versions of the Battle Pass. It didn't take long for other popular franchises like Destiny, Call of Duty, Battlefield, and of course Apex Legends to start introducing Battle Passes in their own games. Even Overwatch, which made loot boxes famous, switched to a Battle Pass model in Overwatch 2. That brings us to the present day, where no one even blinks an eye to see Battle Passes come up the minute they log into a new game. There are a lot of us who hate the idea of a Battle Pass and would never buy one, but even we have accepted the idea that these things are a necessary evil. And that's what we need to talk about next. Why exactly are Battle Passes necessary? Let's take a look at the games that people are playing on Steam right now at the time of recording on July 12th. Banana is kind of a joke game which is expected to exit the top 10 soon, but let me still include it to make my point, which is that most of the games that people play, in this case 80% of the top 10 list, are free-to-play games. I was a bit lucky today because The First Descendant and Once Human are both titles that released recently and so they have a lot of players, but the point still stands. The bulk of today's gaming activity happens in free-to-play games, and while players get to play these games for free, the developers can't really make games for free. It costs money to develop even the most simplest of titles. Even in the case of that joke game Banana, it may not have cost the developer a lot of money to make the game, but they still had to pay Valve $100 to list the game on Steam. And on the larger scale, games like Counter-Strike 2 cost millions of dollars in server costs alone. So the developers and publishers of these games need to make money somehow in order to continue providing free games to the audience. That explains why monetization systems like subscriptions, battle passes, and cash shops exist. The problem arises when the companies start getting greedy. But greedy might not even be the right word. If I can play devil's advocate for just a second, the main objective for any business is to make profit. And no company in any industry will say, okay, we will pursue profits, but not too much profit. Let's just stop at X amount of dollars of profit per year. That's not how businesses work. No one knows how the economy will change year after year. So the only logical way to go forward is to make as much money as possible when you actually know things are going well. So to call this strategy as being greedy is a bit meaningless because that's how businesses have operated since the dawn of time. That's why publishers will sell $20 skins even if they know that would bring them negative press, because they know some players will buy those skins and they can make some easy profits when the game is still popular. Coming back to Apex Legends Battle Pass controversy, again at the time of recording we don't know if the double Battle Pass plan is actually going to go live, but assuming it does, EA will not mind the negative press at all because they know that there will be a small section of the player base that will happily pay $20 or more per season and they will earn a neat profit. So are battle passes really necessary? To a certain extent, yes. They help fund the development of the game, but it is really up to individual developers and their publishers to decide to what extent they are going to monetize their player base. And until someone comes along and shows another profitable method to monetize free-to-play games without attracting so much negative press, battle passes will continue to exist and maybe even get worse. Now let me switch back to the perspective of the players. What are battle passes actually doing to us? If we go back to that Fortnite Battle Pass overview video, the narrator said you would unlock everything in the Battle Pass in 75 to 150 hours of gameplay, and this was for a season that ran for 68 days. So you were expected to play between 1 to 2 hours per day in order to unlock everything in the Battle Pass. On the surface, that sounds quite reasonable, right? That may even sound easy. But what happens when you can't play the game for a day or two? You'll then need to play more hours to catch up on the time you lost, or you may never complete the pass on time. What if there's a new game coming out that you really want to play and it takes 20 to 30 hours to finish that game? Now you can't finish the battle pass on time unless you really stretch your gaming hours and put in more and more time each day. This is the unhealthy time cost associated with battle passes, which can even make you feel sick of gaming as a hobby altogether. A few games like Halo Infinite try to ease things by removing the time limit on battle passes and allowing you to level them up at your own pace, which is a bit healthy for sure. But even in those cases, you still need to commit to a large amount of time to finish up the old passes, and then you may still feel pressurized to catch up to the latest pass so that you can get the newest rewards. At the end of the day, your time is more valuable to the developers than your money because it ramps up the engagement metrics of the game, which helps in attracting more players. By spending your time on these battle passes, you lose the opportunity to try out other games or pursue other hobbies. For some people, this is absolutely what they want and that's their choice. But a lot of us do want to play other games, which is why we almost always have a huge backlog in our libraries. But we never even get the time to install those games because of systems like the Battle Pass tying us to 1 or 2 games at all times. As the average age of gamers continues to rise, the time available to spend on video games will become more limited. And if in this limited time, we as a community keep playing the same games over and over again, without giving newer games a chance to shine, then the next video game market crash will not be far away. The warning signs are already here, with mass layoffs happening in studios across the world, especially those which develop single-player titles, which are becoming harder to sell each year. So what can be done about the situation? Now, I am not an expert to give solutions to this industry-wide problem. But as an average player, I have a few suggestions for what we can do on a smaller scale to hopefully make a positive impact in the long term. The first, of course, is to simply stop buying these battle passes. Not only are they usually not required at all to enjoy the game, but in most cases, you forget about the rewards you earn through them in a few days because a new battle pass offering more rewards will soon arrive. What you do with your time and your money is your choice. But publishers use metrics to take a lot of decisions, and if they see the sales of their battle passes come down, they will be forced to make changes right away. Second, and again this is only a suggestion, try playing other games every once in a while. A lot of us have our main games, but there's nothing wrong in putting away your main game for a few weeks or months and playing something else, and then come back to your main game at the start of a new season. It's how a lot of older gamers play games because that's the only way to keep the hobby of gaming alive in the long term. If you stick to a single game for too long, you risk being burnt out and dropping video games altogether. Third, try to support developers of single purchase games. These are the games where you buy the product once and you're not expected to pay anything else to enjoy the game. These are mostly single player titles, but a few of them support co-op as well, so you can still play with friends. The trick is to avoid games which ask you to pay upfront but also expect you to pay once more for other benefits. The worst culprits, of course, are the games in the Call of Duty franchise which not only ask you to pay full price upfront but then also expect you to buy battle passes. By supporting single purchase games, you can send a message to the industry that investing in that business model still makes sense. Like I said before, what you do with your time and money is up to you. But as you may know, the actions of one individual may not make a difference. However, the actions of many individuals will almost certainly make a difference. We do not know if and when the Battle Pass business model will truly go away. But with our actions today, we can at least hope that whatever replaces this model in the future will be a bit more gamer friendly rather than publisher friendly. Thanks for watching.